Waiting 7 more years for another Evolution simply is no longer an option. The women this past weekend at Evolution 2 absolutely brought the house down and won the weekend over WWE Saturday Night Main Event, to the point where this PLE, this all women's premium live event, is starting to be hailed as the best PLE WWE has put on in 2025. That is huge. And trust me, it is more than deserved. I have said on this channel before and told y'all that I was so excited for Evolution 2. I had my dream match card. And in all honesty, it is more than deserved. I've told y'all that I wanted an Evolution 2 because the way that our women's roster is stacked, there is no reason why we should only be getting one women's match on a PLE or one women's match on a Raw or SmackDown per week. Those women are so extremely talented that they deserve to be showcased more. And unfortunately, it does take an all women's event to prove that. So here's how this episode is going to go. We're going to start talking about some of the story and build, but I won't get too far into it because I did have a very great conversation with Lo over on Wrestling Wind Down, where we broke down the Evolution 2 build and what we would have liked to see from it. So if you haven't already, make sure you go check that out, as well as check out the Film Slam podcast, where me and my girls went through our Evolution predictions, which is why you didn't see any predictions here. And of course, we're going through the card, talking about each match and what I really loved about it and why I think this PLE deserves to be called the PLE of 2025. Now, when you truly think about it, what the women were able to do with such a small build is quite insane. Evolution had 2 weeks of a build, and really 2 episodes of Raw, 2 episodes of SmackDown. That's it. No more, no less. And what these women were able to create with the stories they were giving in such a short amount of time is nothing short of amazing. When we as the fans complained about the Evolution build, we were never complaining about the women's ability to deliver. We just wanted more story. We wanted something that made us excited leading up to it. Some of these matches really could have dealt with just a little bit more story to help elevate them just a tiny bit more. Not that those women still didn't deliver, but the story just simply wasn't there to invoke the feeling that we should have had during these matches. Now, whether we'll see an Evolution 3, I simply don't know. If WWE pays attention to the reactions that they've gotten, it would be an immediate yes. I mean, Evolution 2 was trending for about 24 to 48 hours after the event because people were still talking about how amazing those matches were, how shocking certain things were that happened. If you know, you know, but we'll get to that. And so I really think it would be very smart of us to lead into that more. Evolution was getting such fanfare, such praise, that you would think that TKO and WWE would see this and think, maybe we should do this often. And so I am keeping hope alive. I'm staying very hopeful and very optimistic that we will see Evolution 3 within the next couple of years. I'm not saying it has to be annually because we shouldn't have a reason to need it annually. We shouldn't have a reason to need it, period, if we're 100% honest. Let's be real. These women are amazing. These women can go just as hard, if not harder than the men at times. How many times have we watched these PLEs and we've seen these women deliver and we said, when you put the women's match and the men's match against each other, the women killed it. So there shouldn't be a need for Evolution because we should just see them being featured just as prominently as their male counterparts. However, as long as that's the case, Evolution is needed. And so hopefully we can get to that point at some point. I don't know. Though the weekend they picked for Evolution seemed to be bad, that crowd was absolutely amazing. I loved that crowd the entire night. They were engaged, they were loud, they were cheering, they were supporting, they were pushing these women to be even better than they already were, and it was such a beautiful sight to see. I am so glad that the women had that level of a support system watching them as they moved through such a historic event yet again. But enough about all that. I know why you're here. You know why you're here. Let's get into the Evolution 2 match card, which was absolutely stacked. The second I saw the list of matches, I knew we were in for a treat. To be honest, I didn't think there was a single match on this card that would be a miss. There was not ever a doubt that any woman on this match card wouldn't deliver, and truthfully, every single one actually went above what I expected. So let's just start at the top with Becky Lynch defending her Women's Intercontinental Championship against Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. Before we even get into the match, I really wanted to bring up something Michael Cole mentioned on commentary, and that was that Laura Vicaria felt like she didn't deserve to be in this spot with these two women. Bayley and Becky are two of the four horsewomen, two of the four women who helped bring women's wrestling in WWE to where it is today. And I hope that Lyra never has that idea in her head a day in her life, because she absolutely 100% kept up with these women every step of the way. And my God, this match was amazing. I saw a lot of talk about whether or not this match should have main evented, due to that this match had a little bit more of a story, a little bit more personal feeling. And I'm kind of glad this match ended up going first, because it set the bar, it set the tone for the rest of the show. Every woman who came after these three had to bring it, because these three brought the house down. I have to mention one of my favorite moments in the show is simply seeing the women take in that moment. The crowd is chanting, Bayley is trying to get the crowd hype, Lyra and Becky are playing to the crowd, and they're just feeling the moment of what this night means. Now, going into this match, I did wonder if Bayley and Lyra would be able to put their personal differences to the side, or if they would allow their mutual hatred, or maybe hatred's too strong of a word, I'm not really sure, but their mutual disdain for each other to stand in the way and cause them the match. And I was very surprised to see that that was not the case, and I loved it. There weren't too many times in this triple threat where it was just a one-on-one match. This was very evenly split between all three women. It was like the second somebody was getting down, someone else is coming into play, that person's getting back up, they're getting back into play. This match was so fast paced and so evenly matched that it ended up just being perfect all around. I truly don't have many complaints when it comes to these three women and their match. Throughout the match, I truly wondered who would end up being the woman who took it all, who would be the woman ending up with gold. And that's something that I can't say about a lot of matches. A lot of matches are almost predictable. You can start to tell who's going to win halfway through. Not this one. I also love that they took full advantage of the ringside area, since this match was a no disqualification match. They were throwing each other into barricades, announce desks, steel steps, whatever these women could get their bodies into, they did. I think this match truly showcased each and every woman and her strengths very, very well. It made me really excited to see the three of them go at it again, honestly. And I'm usually not someone that wants to see a triple threat of sorts done again. This one, we can run that back. Becky Lynch did end up retaining her championship at the end of the night, as she snuck in such an amazing pin. Just as Bayley hits the rose plant on Lyra and thinks she has the match won, here comes Bayley with a backslide pin, getting the win and keeping the gold around her waist. Truly 100% enjoyed this match. Zero notes. I have zero complaints. I have not a single negative thing to say about these three women. I am very interested to see what happens next, as we've already seen on Raw that Lyra will be headed to SummerSlam to face Becky again and get another chance at winning back her Intercontinental Championship. But something tells me that Bayley simply will not let this go. And so I'm very interested to see how they end up tying Bayley back into this and where we come out on the other side. Does Becky end up feuding directly with Bayley now? Do we move on and bring other women into the mix, into this mid-card division? I'm very intrigued to see where WWE takes this next, but these three women get a standing ovation from me. Absolutely love this triple threat match. Jordynne Grace met Jacy Jayne for a battle over the NXT Women's Championship, and this one surprised me. And not for the reasons you're thinking. Since Jacy has won the championship, a lot of people have called her win a fluke of sorts. They don't understand why Jacy was chosen to be the NXT Women's Champion. And I think Jacy showed in this match exactly why she deserves to be champion. She showed that you need to stop underestimating her if you are at the moment. Jacy was absolutely amazing and managed to dominate Jordynne throughout parts of the match, which to me, I thought the impossible. Now, on paper, when you just look at the two names, this seems like it would be a win for Jordynne Grace. Again, even though Jacy Jayne is as good as she is in ring, Jordynne is simply packed with strength. And while Jacy did have her two members of Fatal Influence on the sides, Jordynne brought Blake Monroe to be in her corner to watch her back. And while I expected Blake to do just that, Blake shocked me when she cost Jordan the championship by hitting Jordan in the back with the title. When I tell y'all, I absolutely lost it because I did not expect a Blake Monroe heel turn this soon. What I do expect is a Blake Monroe NXT Women's Championship run. And so I'm ready to see how this heel Blake plays out. There's also been the rumor that Jordan Grace would be getting called up soon, so I figured JC would be retaining. However, I'm still very glad that they let the match play out the way it did. This match made both Jordan and JC look extremely strong, extremely dominant, and extremely well versed within a ring. Now, after she gets done handling business with Jordan Grace, there's no doubt in my mind Blake Monroe will be making her way straight to JC Jane and that women's championship. JC better watch out. We also had a fatal four-way for the women's tag team championships featuring the Kabuki Warriors, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, Zarya and Sol Ruka, and of course the current champions Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, I have to include my quick little rant about the Dungeon Dolls. If you aren't aware, Natalya and Maxine Dupree have been paired up and have been made into a tag team. However, we haven't seen them. They even have merch on the shop, and it's simply just not being used at the moment. I'm not sure what we're waiting on. I'm not sure if there's some particular moment we're going to pull the trigger, but I thought that this was the perfect moment to introduce them as a tag team again. We've only seen them once, and that was in, I believe, a gauntlet match for a chance at the titles at WrestleMania. And since then, they haven't really been present. They've just been backstage. I was really hoping that we would see the Dungeon Dolls in the Raw tag team spot just because they've been there, they've been around. Let's give them a chance and see what they can do. But that went to Asuka and Kairi Sane. And this is not hate because I absolutely love both Asuka and Kairi, but I'm kind of hoping that we're going to get Asuka versus Io Sky soon. I think Kairi will also be amazing in the women's mid-card division. Imagine her mixing it up with Lyra and Becky and Bayley right now. I don't think the Kabuki Warriors truly are needed as a tag team right now because these two should be moving on for singles gold rather than team gold. They've been there, done that, you know? That does not take away from the fact that the Kabuki Warriors are one of the best tag teams I have ever seen. These two women move like they are one. It's like they're reading each other's mind through the match because they know exactly what they're about to do. I also must mention that Charlotte Flair in this gear is my gear of the night. This was one of the best looks I saw all night, and my gosh, she looked gorgeous. Her and her new stylist, Brian Valentine, are absolutely slaying in the gear department right now. Between this and the WrestleMania gear, I cannot tell you which one I loved more. That purple really shined, it sparkled, and it made her look royal because purple is a royal color for those who don't know. But Charlotte for sure gets my Glam of the Night award because my girl ate that look up. Her and Alexa Bliss are really growing on me as a team. They have this little sis, big sis relationship where they're just always picking, but it's really more of a, well, I can do that, you can't type of relationship vibe. Does anyone else get that from them? Either way, I was so excited to see them in this match, and if I'm honest, there was no doubt in my mind that these two were walking out with gold. Clearly, I was very, very wrong, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. From the very beginning of this match, the women of the tag team division acted like they had something to prove. And honestly, I think they did. A lot of people keep saying things like, we don't really need a women's tag division. It's just pointless. And they showed us that, yes, we do. First and foremost, thank you to whoever has started to make Raquel Rodriguez look as strong as she should. She is a powerhouse. She is strength. She is a big woman. Why have we been booking her like she is not? She was also booked this well back with the Rhea match at Night of Champions, and I'm just so amazed at her strength, at her power, how easily she's tossing people around the ring. And the same goes for Zarya, but like, no one's surprised there. All of these teams worked absolutely amazing together, and truthfully, this match could have kept going. While I enjoyed this match, I could have went for another 10-15 minutes. I'm not gonna even lie to you. Now, if you couldn't tell, I am a Charlotte fan, so I really, really loved hearing the love that Charlotte got in Atlanta, hearing the we want Charlotte, hearing the pop that she's getting, and seeing Charlotte take that soul snatcher. Man, if y'all don't give me Sol Ruka and Charlotte Flair right now, as I mentioned in my Glam count out video, the Soul Snatcher is currently one of my favorite women's finishers honestly, of all time. And Charlotte took it so beautifully. Who says she don't put people over? Tuh. Another one of my favorite moments has to be Charlotte Flair saving Alexa Bliss from imminent danger as she was set up to take a mean, nasty ass spear from Zarya that Charlotte pulled her out of the way of, causing Zarya to instead hit Sol Ruka. Is Zaruka okay? I don't think so, y'all. I don't know. But seeing them go back and seeing Charlotte holding Alexa in her arm and patting her and saying, I got you. My heart, they're just so adorable. I told you, they're sisters. Sisters fight. Sisters may not always like each other, but there is love at the end of the day. And something tells me this will not be the last time we see Alexa and Charlotte teaming together. Now, Raquel and Roxanne did end up retaining their women's tag team championships after Raquel pinned Sol Ruka, but something kind of interesting happened. Roxanne jumped on Raquel the exact same way that Liv Morgan tended to, and I just need to know if anybody called up Liv Morgan. Is she all right? Do we know how she feels about that? Looks like Finn's plan may be working there, but we just will have to see. Again, this was a match that I wasn't really sure how it would play out, but it went above and beyond my expectations. I absolutely loved it. I am so excited to see us bringing more life back into the women's tag division. So I'm hoping we continue that as we move forward. SummerSlam is 2 nights. There is no reason why this women's tag team division should not be featured. Just saying. Trish Stratus got her first chance at gold after years when she faced Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship. These two, I love their gear also, I'm not going to even lie. Trish having the emblem that was shaped like the old school Women's Championship with Trish Stratus in the middle was such a beautiful homage, was such a beautiful addition. It just made all of this feel so full circle that we came from that title to this title and this evolution that those women could have only dreamed about back then. And Tiffany in that red, girl, one thing about Tiffany, the gear is going to eat every time. Now, I'll be very honest. With this match, I went in with extremely low expectations, and that was nothing against either of these two women. Tiffany has been on the reign of her life with this title, whereas Trish is still amazing in ring after so long. However, there was no build. And if I'm honest, I'm slightly worried because they gave Tiffany 2 of her dream feuds in her very first championship reign. Tiffany has now beat both Charlotte Flair and Trish Stratus, 2 women that she's been compared to the entire time within the very first year of her having that title. And yes, we can come back to this at a later date, but was it too soon? Y'all let me know if you feel like maybe we should have slowed this down and did something else, because that was my biggest concern. These are 2 women who Tiffany is compared to endlessly because of the looks, the build, the glam. Like I said, I do think it is a beautiful thing to have someone like a Trish Stratus to be able to come back, get in the ring and wrestle. I just was genuinely concerned if it was too soon. Another thing that had my expectations slightly lowered was the fact that there was not much build to this. Both Tiffany and Trish deserved more than just the 2 occurrences they had to meet before now. Especially with the fact that they teamed together in the past. We really could have did something to bring that in or make Trish even earn a spot. Trish ended up facing a lot of backlash leading into Evolution, and I don't think it's because of her herself. It's because, 1, the fans think she kind of took someone else's spot on the roster. And 2, and I think this is the most important, there wasn't really a story. There wasn't really anything connecting us to this feud that gave us a reason to care other than WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus going after her first title in years. Either way, I did still enjoy this match. They delivered more than I expected them to. Trish can still move. If Trish really wanted to, Trish could be on the active roster right now. Like, we have to call a spade and be honest about that. Trish can still go. Despite what a lot of people may think or feel, she still gets in that ring and gives her all as if it's still 2002. I did really love Trish attempting the Lita salt because while she was doing a moonsault, we all know it was for her bestie Lita. And I love Tiffany showing her how it's done by hitting the prettiest moonsault ever and retaining her WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany now has a storm right in front of her as she heads to SummerSlam to face Jade Cargill for that same championship. And I don't know if she's walking out with it this time, but she's had a great reign so far, and it's quite possible that she can add Jade to just another notch on her belt. But we'll talk about that more when we get to SummerSlam. Speaking of Jade Cargill, she was in a no holds barred match with Naomi with Bianca Belair as a special guest referee. Now, if you've ever been on this channel, you know the Big Three story has been my agenda. The Big Three story has been my pure focus for the last few months. I am very deeply entrenched into the story, into the lore, into what they could possibly do with this. And I'll be honest, I kind of wanted this to be the main event. This has been the longest and most important women's story because this started back in November. If you really want to be honest, it started in like March of last year when the Big Three got together to begin with. So Naomi and Jade, no holds barred, Bianca Belair as the ref, that gave main event energy to me. And that's nothing against Rhea and Io because I know exactly why they got the main event, and we'll get to that in a minute because those girls showed up and showed out. But I was really impressed with this Naomi and Jade match because I wanted them to beat the hell out of each other. I have been saying that probably about every week for the past few weeks. And that is exactly what they did. They were putting each other through TVs. They were hitting each other in the face with chains. They were putting each other through tables, trash cans. Nothing and no one was safe during this match. And Bianca Belair sold it just as evenly as they did with their physicality. Her faces the entire time, she looked so distressed. She was so upset. She didn't want to be there, but she had to because this was supposed to end it once and for all. Jade Cargill managed to hit the Jaded on Naomi through a table, giving her the win, and something quite interesting happened after that. As Bianca was holding up her hand, Jade gave her a mean ass side eye, and I'm simply wondering what that's about. But we'll get into the possibility of that in another video really soon, so go ahead and be on the lookout for that also. A lot of people were very upset that Naomi lost, but I've been saying Naomi almost had to lose this match so that she could go into her cash-in successfully. My theory has always been that Naomi would cash in at SummerSlam on Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. And very clearly, I was proven wrong. Naomi did not want us to know what her next move was, and what she had planned for the main event, none of us could have saw coming. But before that was the Women's Battle Royal, where 20 women competed for a chance to get a women's championship opportunity at Clash in Paris. We had everyone from Nia Jax and Nikki Bella to Stephanie Vaquer, Lash Legend, Chelsea Green, The Secret Hervist, Ivy Nile, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker, Michin, B-Fab, the Dungeon Dolls. Some of everyone was in this match, and honestly, it was glorious. There's two things I want to talk about for this match specifically. Number one, a lot of people were very upset, which is kind of funny given the statement I made earlier about Trish. A lot of people were very upset at the lack of legends in this match. We really didn't have any legend return outside of Trish Stratus. And I'm not counting Nikki because Nikki is a current member of the active roster. There were no legends in the ring at WWE Evolution 2. They were ringside, but not in the ring. Another thing, there were no women on commentary. Stephanie McMahon sat in the back with Joe, but there were no women ringside to call the match, which I do think was a very big mistake and overlook on WWE's part. If we're doing Evolution and we're making sure all the refs were women, we should have at least had one woman on commentary to join Cole. And Wade if you really wanted to have him also. But I digress. We'll get back to the Battle Royal. Let me know how y'all felt about the lack of legends and the lack of surprise. We kind of knew exactly which women would be in that match a few days before the match. So again, this is one of those where there's a lot of mixed emotion. There's a lot of additional feelings that people have. So I want to hear from you. Were you upset that there were no surprises and no special entrant that ended up showing up at Evolution? The second thing has to do with the match itself, and that is the Secret Hervist made up of Alba Fire and Piper Niven. Here's the problem. If they had been using the Secret Hervist previously the way they did in this match, people would have took that run with Chelsea Green a little bit more seriously. The Secret Hervist looked so dominant, so strong. They look like they are a problem. They look like they could bulldoze through anyone who gets in their way. And Chelsea Green was there to pick up the scraps and make sure she looked good while doing so. I truly enjoy seeing them, and it was the first time that I looked at them as an actual faction, as someone you should be concerned about. And it shouldn't have taken that long. So I'm saying that just to say I hope we do something more with them, because I'm kind of feeling them right now, and I really want to see where we head with that. Now, I predicted my final three as Stephanie Vaquera, Lash Legend, and Nikki Bella, and I was this close to being right, but I forgot one very important thing. I forgot the woman who is Nia Jax, because man, it was not easy for them to get her up out that ring. But they managed to, and Stephanie Vaquera and Lash Legend faced off in a final stand to see which one of them would be headed to Paris. Now, while Lash Legend did end up hitting the ground first, I was so proud to see the way that they used her. Lash looked strong. Lash looked like she deserves to have gold around her waist, and why she doesn't, I still don't know. Since Miss Jackson was released, I have been waiting for Lash's call up to the main roster. If you're not going to put her in the NXT Women's Championship picture, bring her to Raw or SmackDown. I don't care which. And if you don't think she's ready for the main title picture, put her in the mid-card division and watch her wreck shop. I need to see Lash more. I need to see Lash on the main roster immediately. Thank you. Now, Stephanie Vaquera did end up winning, and she will go on to face potentially the new WWE Women's World Champion, but who could that possibly be, right? In our main event, we saw Rhea Ripley trying to conquer her conqueror in Io Sky, the current WWE Women's World Champion. Y'all, I have no words to explain how much I love this match. These two women gave us everything they could possibly give us and more. I have not seen women going out into the audience and I don't even know how long and just beating every bit of life out of each other. There came a point in the match that I literally said out loud, how are they even still standing? I still don't know. The whole point of this match was, can Rhea Ripley finally beat Io Sky? She has never been able to beat Io Sky in one-on-one competition. And there were several times throughout that match that I thought she was going to do it. And it was the very last time that I'm watching them both laying there. And I said, Rhea's going to find some type of strength to get up and win this match, right? Wrong, because we heard Naomi's music and a cash in happened right then and there. I can't believe it. I cannot believe Naomi cashed in at Evolution 2 and is now our new women's world champion. The joy saying that brings me is insane. There's a lot of backlash and controversy about this match also. A lot of people are saying that the Naomi cash-in ruined the match. And to that, I say, are you insane? And y'all know I usually don't say things like that. I usually tell you that I respect your opinion. You respect mine. We're all good. But no, that match was already 5-star. Naomi just gave us a reason to bring that story back up again, to continue that story and let Rhea have that moment when she finally does beat Io on a larger stage. Now, that could also be my bias talking, because I wanted to cash in. And I am very happy that the 100% cash in rate continues to be a thing for the women, as Naomi is no longer Mrs. Money in the Bank. She is your new champion. Hats off to her, Rhea, and Io. They put on such an amazing match. This main event was my favorite match of the night, even before the cash in. Naomi would be my MVP because she shocked the world and gave us everything we didn't know we needed. That cash in had me screaming my ass off. And if you have not seen the video, I'll put it in. I'll link it somewhere, because I'm sure y'all don't want to keep hearing me scream if you've already seen it. But now Naomi must head to SummerSlam, where she'll see her first title defense in a triple threat versus Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And if I'm honest, I'm nervous for my girl. I don't know if she walks out retaining, but I am crossing fingers, toes, and everything else that she manages somehow. In short, Evolution 2 was everything I could have possibly asked for. There was not a single moment on this show that I was not 100% tuned in, that I was not locked in and engaged with the product. WWE put on one of their best PLEs with Evolution 2, and it makes me question why this isn't just a norm with all the other PLEs. You would think the 2-week story build would have hurt them, and if anything, they showed they kind of didn't need it. With hope, we'll get to see an Evolution 3 within the next couple of years, and maybe this will become somewhat of an often occurrence. I'm not asking for it to be every year because that may seem a little bit of excessive. However, I would like to see it at least every other year. Give these women that chance to put on the same show that they put on now, and I guarantee they will not let you down. So let me know down in the comments what match was your favorite match and how are you feeling about Naomi's cash in. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my page, and turn on post notifications so you're notified every time I post. Until next time, bye guys.